All right. Good afternoon, podcast fans and Facebook Live folks. How's everybody doing out there? Continue to say hey.
Hey, how's everybody doing today?
All
We
right.
had a nice hot one.
Yes, we did. And that's beautiful. And no rain. How about that?
Hey, it's coming, though, the weatherman said.
All right. All right. We got a special guest for you today. They all special, but this guy right here got a story to tell. Curtis, we're gonna read your bio and hit a couple points, and then we're gonna ask you a few questions and let you tell your story.
Okay.
All right. So
Sounds good.
all right.
All right, everybody in Facebook land, let's welcome Curtis Michael Girty. He is a native Detroiter, the youngest of 5 boys who grew up on the east side in the Mack and Van Dyke area. His mother passed away when he was 3 years old. During his younger formative years, Curtis had some difficulty adjusting, which eventually led him to using alcohol and drugs at age 12 as a means to escape. He looked to the street life, hoping to find success and wealth in the drug game. He remained actively addicted for 18 years. At age 30, he entered a rehab program at SHAR, SHAR, Self-Help Addicted Rehabilitation, where he learned to deal with his hurdles in life. Sorry, I was getting kind of.
That kind of hit you kind of hard. Like,
Yeah, kind of hurt. Curtis' inspiration to begin. He's an author. His inspiration to write began in 1996, and he wrote 2 books. Ebony, Pearls of Wisdom, and title of his memoir is Portrait of a
trouble child.
Troubled Child. Thank you. He has been a public speaker for the Detroit Public Schools and several community organizations, where he willingly shares some of his personal details about his own life in an effort to help others. He says one of the most important factors I had to consider was misdirected blame. Too often I blamed others for my addictions and other setbacks in life. I had to learn to accept responsibility for my own actions, understanding that blaming others only excused me to be a failure. Although raised in the church, he wavered in his commitment, but finally made the decision that he wanted a new life. He witnesses that with having Christ in his life, all things are possible. Curtis is a member of New Prospect Missionary Baptist Church in Detroit. He loved his pastor, late Reverend Dr. Wilma R. Johnson. Her sermons and Bible teachings inspired him to grow as a Christian. At 34 years, he retired from the city of Detroit. In addition to writing, Curtis' hobbies include bowling, playing billiards, scratch baking, and collecting movies and music. Welcome, everybody. Welcome.
Glad to see a smile.
I
Right.
know, 'cause I was
She was bringing me down. I was like, oh Lord. Hey Curtis, how you doing?
All right.
Good. So look, yeah, we gonna let's start out with I'm gonna ask this question. I'll ask all our guests. What school did you go to?
Well, elementary school, I went to Cooper. Then I went to Joyce Barber Junior High School.
Okay.
Went to Mary Wright and got transferred over there to Kettering.
Okay.
Oh, Cataract.
Okay. Yeah, I lived right down the street from Kettering when I was growing up.
His family went to Cataract.
But that's all right. Okay. But you say, yeah, Mack and Van Dyke, because I was at Van Dyke and Harper.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, yeah, Iroquois.
Yeah. UBQ. Yeah.
Oh, yes, sir. That was my hangout a little early in life.
I met it.
Well, actually, Blue Chateau started it. And then,
okay.
Yeah, then they got fancy.
Yes, sir.
Right. And so, it's funny, you said that you started using alcohol and drugs at age 12. And that kind of resonated with me because although I didn't use drugs, I did drink early on in life. And thank God it never got to be a real problem. But that seemed to be a okay thing in our community back in them days when we were young. let our young folks drink.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
My dad was a weekend drinker.
Okay.
My my thing was I wound up taking alcohol to school to try to make friends. At Barber. Barber was quite a rough school at that time, and I was in the elementary school next door,
Mm-hmm.
and I had saw a few fights that it encompassed somebody getting cut up with razors, straight razors, and guys was wearing processed hair at that time. I had a brother that was at Barber, but he was getting ready to go from Barber to Eastern.
Okay.
So I didn't really have, I wasn't participating at that time with any, we had just moved neighborhood, so I wasn't participating with any little gangs or anything.
Right.
So I wound up, I was working at a liquor store. I wound up taking some liquor to school, and I ran into a guy who wanted to trade liquor for some pills.
Mm.
And he was had a reputation at the school for fighting and knowing, had a few guys that backed him up, whatever. So I wound up getting with him, Richard, his name, and took some of the pills. They were yellow jackets. It's kind of barbiturates or whatever.
Some of these names that you call on that, have been changed to protect the innocent, right?
Well, I'm not saying no last names. I'm not gonna say any last names.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And yeah, and trust me, for the most part, most of the people that I ran with in school have passed on. I could name at least 13 people in my neighborhood that died with drug-related deaths.
Okay.
During the 60s, after President Kennedy got killed, assassinated, and
you froze.
These are my opinions that drugs were flooding the community to silence people, to stop some of that roar that we was making, trying to get our rights or whatever.
Right.
And that was with the economy being the way it was. Well, the economy wasn't bad then because you could get a job in a factory or whatever.
Right.
But with some of the situations that was in the city, because in the city we were kind of grouped together. My dad was a factory worker, working hard every day, come home, get a meal, read the paper, get some rest, go back to that bump and grind the next day. And up on Mack Avenue, I was seeing guys driving white Cadillacs, dressing swell, had women up on the corner, and I was asking my father, what do they do? What do they do? He said, well, you just get your education.
Yeah. You
just get your education. And but they wasn't working and was doing a lot better than he appeared to be doing.
Right.
So I just started hanging with older guys and listening to some of the philosophies of the street, and had an admiration to want to go that way.
Yeah.
Knucklehead, I had some issues at home where my dad had remarried a woman that should never have no children. She wasn't a gentle person. She was what he needed. She was she clean. She could cook like nobody's business, and she was a working woman, and that's what he wanted. A woman that married a man with 5 boys.
Yeah.
Think about that now.
That's right.
Think about that. Her goal was to get as many of us out of the home as she could. And these things, my dad, he had a goal. He wanted a working woman. He wanted somebody. He asked me if I wanted a mother after being without a mother for 4 years. And going to school, and most of the time kids at that time, they was coming to school with their mothers because dad was working, but mom was at home.
Right.
Kids was teasing me, where your mama? Why your brother bringing you to school or whatever. So I wasn't adjusting well.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. And when I had got into the new neighborhood, I just decided to start running with the fellas, you know, and doing some of the negative things they were doing. My focus left education, and started being up on Mac, you know, and hanging out. Tried to sell drugs for a minute.
Right.
That's what I'm doing in middle school.
In middle school. Yeah, and for those that don't know, back in them days, Mac wasn't no joke.
No. That was the strip. That was, you know, the stroll. Mac Avenue. You know, if you wanted something happening, you go up on the avenue, and that it was there.
Right.
I had my first encounter with prostitute when I was 15 years old, which was a stupid situation, just being curious. So I look back now, and I some of the guys that I knew in school, but I didn't associate with, became lawyers, judges, and I was talking to my wife one day. I said, you know, I'm trying to figure out how they stayed focused. You know,
right.
You know how they make it through the jungle.
Right.
And the thing of it was, everything, in my opinion, depends on how you're dealing with what comes from home. You know, what comes from home. My dad didn't emphasize education. His thing was, if you drop out of school, you're gonna get a job. You're gonna get your factory. You're gonna go to the army. All five of us went to the army. All my brothers.
Okay.
Went to the army. That was his idea of, I guess, what he didn't think that he could instill in us. The army gonna it'll make you a man.
Right.
You know?
Right.
It was a good experience for me. But go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just listening to your story. I mean, you know, and so let me ask you a question about, so your mother passed away when you were 3, right? And so how many years later did your father remarry? How old were you?
7.
You were 7?
7.
So 4 years later, about. So so you said, okay, you got out there in the streets, and did you start selling drugs?
When I was in junior high school,
right,
the guy that I was telling you about, I got the pills from, I found a prescription. Well, another guy found a prescription, but we found a pharmacist in Hamtramck. I'll do a teeny say, I won't say his name because his family name is known.
Right.
You could take a prescription to him and put a dog print on it, and he would buzz it. You know? So we were taking prescriptions to him. I was 14 to 15 years old, getting diet pills. Get 100 diet pills for $20, and it's a higher grade pill you can get 100 for $25. Selling for $1 a piece, and you make $75 off of a script. And I started selling those.
So let me ask you a question, because I ain't too bright about diet pills. And what was what did diet pills do for people?
They gave me energy. I was selling some to some mothers. You know, they clean their house and gave them that energy or whatever. They called them rappers. For me, I wasn't that outspoken. They gave me a confident conversation. Which if you had drugs in the neighborhood and a conversation, you was gonna get the girls. That came with that. So when I got into when 16 and was able to start driving and stuff, you know, I was running all around, all through the city, over the 10th precinct area, selling pills, Grand River, Illinois, different places. It's not too many places in the city that I didn't roam. My dad had got a brand new car, deuce and a quarter. His initials is CG, and my initial CG had his initials on the door. So I was fronting like that was my car. Everybody thought it was my car.
Right.
Then I got the package. I had got a little job working at what was Royal Supermarket. It was actually an extension of Chatham Supermarket.
Yeah, right, Royals, yeah.
Yeah. So I was working there. I blew a whole lot of good opportunity because I was I always got credit for being a good worker. They shot me straight on up from bagging to stocking. I went from stocking to ringing the register. When I was 17, they sent me to this management training for a test rather to see if I qualified, which I did. And I had dropped out of school, but they didn't know it. So when he came and asked me about becoming a manager, and I told him I had dropped out, he was like, what he thought about me just automatically changed. He went from thinking I was an industrious, energetic guy with some goals to a knucklehead. You know,
right.
So eventually, they found out that I was selling drugs, and I lost that job. I was 17. Had 2 girls that had got abortions, and the third girl was pregnant. My dad, go to the army to make you a man, but go to the army, marry that girl. You had 2 girls pregnant. So I went to the army, and I didn't do well there. You know, I wanted to be a career soldier, but I went into the army with a habit. I can't tell you how I passed the urine test. Everybody was going to Vietnam when I went into service.
Right.
So that probably has something.
That helped.
They just needed somebody else to send over there. They didn't care what condition he was in. So when you was addicted. I mean, I guess you got addicted because, like you said, the pills was giving you that extra little courage you needed to spit your rap, and so you got off into hard stuff. Did that increase? Did the drug habit increase in the army or no?
When I went into the service, I had the addiction for the diet pill.
Okay.
And I was taking on the average of 10 pills a day. When I got into the service, it was wherever you were, whatever drug was available, soldiers was using. So it was like mescaline and different other kind of drugs that was available. When I got to Texas, I went because I just missed the last levy going to Vietnam. Had I went to Vietnam, I don't think I'd be telling this story today. With the potency of the heroin that was over there.
Right.
I didn't get off into heroin until 1972. And that was while I was stationed in Texas. Went down to Mexico. We was going to Mexico, picking up pounds of weed. And it's a lot of Puerto Ricans that was there from New York and stuff. And they were selling and using heroin. And I got intrigued mentally. Some people say, well, what is intriguing about heroin?
Right.
The state of mind that I was in caused for entertaining a downer. I was at a point where I didn't know if I was going to be successful in the military because I had this habit. I was getting in trouble. And had no plans for what I would do, you know, if I got out of the service. So anyway, I wound up starting to use heroin in 72 while I was in the service. Never saw it as a habit because I wasn't using it regularly and it was available when I did want to use it.
Right.
And there was a lot of guys that was there with Vietnam returnees who the potency of the heroin they were used to getting in Vietnam, it wasn't matched by what was coming out of Mexico. So they were doing other things, off post and on post, robberies and stealing and different things like this in order to get enough heroin to accommodate their habits. Good guys. I'm saying this, a lot of guys that was doing this had never used drugs at all before they got in the military. And
Yeah.
Vietnam.
Yeah.
And I'm not blaming Vietnam on it, but war has some impacts,
Right.
depending on what, how, and I was an infantry soldier. So the soldiers that I was dealing with were fighting soldiers coming from over there, frontline soldiers.
Right. Right.
How long were you in the service?
2 years. I should say I would say too long, but that was probably, that experience probably gave me the foundation mentally to make it in this life, because I got introduced to the government of the United States.
Yeah.
And that knowledge that I got there allowed me to, if you playing a game and don't have instructions on how to play it,
Right.
you're not going to be successful in that game.
That's right.
And I basically learned the game of life. I had a few high-ranking officers. One of them was a 3-star general that I wound up having to go and talk to about a court martial that I was getting. Gave me some good advice and gave me some self-esteem by telling me some things that potentials he saw in me that I didn't see in myself at that time.
Okay.
And coming from what he had achieved, it meant the world to me. Boys need men
Yes.
to give them that type of knowledge or push in life.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that was just an introduction at a time in life when my mind was in a disarray.
Right.
Because I didn't find out what an addiction really was until in '73 when I came home. Went straight to work at Ford Motor Company, selling drugs, selling heroin in the factory. Got this stupid thing. I'm gonna, as my dad say, straddle the fence.
Yeah.
I got a job and selling narcotics, and use it, which is that's the ingredients for failing right there.
Right. That's right. That's right.
Don't get high on your own supply.
Yeah. Right. If you're gonna sell it, don't use it. At least do that much. So
fast forward.
Right. So she said fast. Yeah. Yeah. Right. Well. Yeah. That's a lot.
There's a story in there.
Yeah. Yes, it is. So you. How did you? Okay, so we gonna do the Reader's Digest version a little bit. So you was addicted for 18 years.
Correct.
So how did you?
Not all heroin addiction, just addicted to drugs and alcohol. Not all heroin.
Right. Just drugs and alcohol, just the total addiction thing cycle. So how did you come out of that?
Well, I got off into the selling of heroin to try to get rich.
Mm-hmm.
And that addiction excelled. What should happen in the dope game is you get a package and you start making so much money that the guy that's supplying you don't need him no more. You can get your own and you're off on your own. And he might want to kill you because you done took his customers, whatever. But when you're in a position of getting consignment like I was, you stay up under the thumb. So I'm just taking money back, just getting enough drugs to keep my habit going. Mm-hmm. So I'm crossing folks, I'm mixing dope with all kind of other stuff to try, and I'm using my personal whatever. And just my intravenous use was like maybe 5 years consecutive. I never did have any protruding or visible veins. So that became a problem for me. I never wanted to be anything that, to me, just my craziness now, that represented being a dope fiend, like such as going in your neck with a needle or going in your groin. Yeah. Those are things that represented to me a real dope fiend.
Right.
This is the madness now. This because you're a dope fiend nonetheless, no matter period. As a matter of fact, let me say this for the clarity of it. That label I wear for life. I'm just not an active dope fiend.
Uh-huh.
Dope fiend is a behavior.
Okay.
When I say it's a behavior, lying, scheming, just like you pick up behavior in the penitentiary, and after so many years being in the penitentiary, it sticks with you.
Mm-hmm.
That dope fiend behavior is what I had to learn to come away from.
Okay.
So acknowledging that is a part of my personality is what makes me steer clear of that.
Okay.
So I got to the point where I could not no longer find veins in my arms. I was paying guys to hit me, shoot the dope for me or whatever. Young boys took over Herman Garden projects with the YBI,
Mm-hmm.
became popular. Dexter Richton, they had that corner covered up. Brewster Projects and Jeffries.
Mm-hmm.
It became obvious to me that if I stayed in the streets, because I was no longer able to sell drugs, I was, the first time I left and went to share houses because I owed the dope man some money and I was afraid I was going to get killed.
Mm.
So I wasn't necessarily going there for recovery. I was going there to hide.
Okay.
That was in 1975. So to answer your question in short, I found myself on my knees in 1983 asking God to take this addiction from me because I could not take it away.
Mm-hmm.
Praise God.
I was in the middle of Mack Avenue, had been trying to find a vein for about 4 hours. Blood was running all down my arms. And I was literally in tears.
Mm.
I started searching for places to go. Synanon was a popular place that people were going to California. Chuck Dietrich ran that. It was like a city within a city. The program was a lifelong program, but it wanted lifelong commitment.
Yes.
And this is how I know I was spiritually led to the right place because Billie Holiday House was over on East Grand Boulevard. I was getting ready to check in there. And somebody told me, said, man, they shooting dope up in there. They didn't have Billie Holiday. And I was trying to find some place where where they wasn't using no drugs.
Right.
So I had been in Share House in 75, and program was an excellent program at that time. But in order to graduate, it was like 24 to 36 month program.
Okay.
So I left after 1 year and came out and stayed what I thought was clean. I was using alcohol and marijuana until 1982, when a cocaine dealer put some coke in my hand and wanted me to sell coke for him. So that's when in 1983, I had went back strong into my addiction, coke and heroin. And knew that I could almost tell you who the person that was going to wind up killing me was. Because I was just running game on myself,
right,
crossing the wrong people. And but I didn't go back to Share House that time to hide. I went back for my life.
Yes. Yeah.
I wanted to live, and I wanted to learn how to live drug-free.
Yeah. Okay, well, you go ahead and ask. She keep pointing that stuff on your bio. Want me to ask questions.
She didn't know me. Tina didn't know me.
No, you know.
Is this the same guy that go to church?
I mean, I know everybody got a story, but you really got a story. You know, because I'm still reading the book. I started it, and I'm still reading. Okay. Yes, I am. But
this might inspire you to go ahead and finish it.
Believe me, I didn't need that inspiration. It's very interesting. I just want to, just like I said earlier, fast forward. I just want to. You said you started so you actually did graduate from Sharp.
Oh yeah. 1983.
Mhm.
Yeah, in 1984, actually graduated.
And so you started these other meetings.
NA,
to
Narcotics Anonymous.
Mhm.
People from the suburbs was coming in share house, introducing share house to Narcotics Anonymous while I was in the program.
Okay.
And we was Caucasian. And it was a guy they had different levels. And I was going to the level to get ready to graduate. But they had a guy that they wanted to start some inner city Narcotics Anonymous meetings who wound up going back to drugs.
Mm.
So myself and another guy, they asked if we would go over to Robinwood and meet with this woman that ran the clinic over there and start a meeting over there.
Mm-hmm.
So Robinwood was right there on 7 Mile and Woodwood. We went over there and me and two other guys that was in the share house got together and tried to flip around, tried to come up with a name. They came up with the name Friday Night Live.
Friday now.
And we started having Narcotics Anonymous meetings every Friday night there. Then they wanted another one, so we started another one at Northwest General Hospital. Friday Night Live became one of the biggest. That clinic at one time you couldn't even get in there on Friday evening.
Mm.
It was so crowded upstairs and downstairs.
All right. Well, that's a good
Northwest
thing.
General was basically for people that was in the hospital over there that was seeking recovery or whatever.
Okay.
Both of them did real well, and then they started. AA meetings were already here, so they started combining some NA and AA meetings together for cross-addicted people. But that was a boost and a inspiration for me to continue in my recovery.
Okay. Right.
Very good.
Right.
Very good.
So you say you've been free. You've been clean.
Yeah.
For 37 years.
37.
Praise God.
He's worthy. He is worthy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So then, how did you get the inspiration to write a book? And not only inspiration, but the courage.
Well, started putting together some rhymes. That was in the late 90s. And trying to put together something that would inspire and make aware young folks and other folks not to go in the direction that I had went.
Mm-hmm.
My first book, Ebony Pearls of Wisdom.
Oh, okay.
Slide it over the other way. Slide it the other way. Towards your face. Yeah, and lift it up a little. Go.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go. Yep, that's good. That's good.
Mhm.
All right.
Very good.
Yeah.
If I can give you a piece out
Yes, sir.
here, try to give you an understanding. And it's been a while since I spit, as they say.
Why you
So I
got the
might
mic?
need. Okay.
That's all right. You gonna do what you do.
And the title of the poem is Message to a Black Boy.
Okay.
It said you're angry, mad at the world, because your dad wasn't there for you. Prove them wrong, Black boy. Yes, life is hard. You can make it. Develop a positive point of view. You're expected to fail, not amount to much. Prove them wrong, Black boy. Don't use drugs as a crutch. You're a father child by 13 and then reject the baby's mama. Prove them wrong, Black boy. Don't live out the predicted drama. It said your IQ is low, that you can't even read. Prove them wrong, Black boy. Gain knowledge and succeed. Respect yourself and demand it back. Hold your head towards the sun. Prove them wrong, Black boy. Respect is not respect when it's obtained by carrying a gun. Stand by your family. Don't run with gangs. Tell me now, what will you do? Prove them wrong, Black boy. Bring out the strong Black man in you.
Yes. All right.
Yes.
All
yes,
right.
yes,
I like
yes.
that. Because I know a lot of what you do, like you said, is geared toward trying to direct young Black kids in the right direction, young Black men. Have you talked with Charles Primus at all at the church?
I have not.
Because he he has a program that he's working on called Black Boys. Well, it's not called Black Boys Rock anymore. Doggone, I forgot what it's called. Black Boys Rock is what it was. Detroit Boys Rock. So y'all might want to hook up because he does a lot of things, trying to inspire young Black kids, young Black men
Okay.
to stay on the straight and narrow. So do you know Charles?
That's Deacon Primus' son?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big,
I've seen him.
yeah, the big fella.
Big guy. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll try to hook y'all up so y'all can you can
Sounds good.
do what you can with him because he has programs where you can come in and speak to the young people anyway, if nothing else.
Oh, that would be great.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. So you did your pearls.
Yeah, and that took me into the schools. I went into the schools, elementary schools. Did better with junior high school students, sharing my story and some poetry with them, trying to bring about that awareness.
Right.
Drugs are much more prevalent in the communities than they ever was when I was their age.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So they need that education.
Yeah.
They need that love. So did that and would go wherever someone would hear me. And I had always wanted to write my story. And I would try during the time that I was writing this poetry, but I never could get it off the ground. And in 2013, I started waking up in the middle of the night.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
And I would go in the office here at home and start writing. And Jeanette would come down. She said, what are you doing? This book is coming together for me.
Yeah.
That was in 2013. And I wrote until to the middle of 2015.
Okay.
And had got with a beautiful young lady and a white young lady librarian in San Diego. She was the second editor I got with. The first editor, she wasn't giving me what I needed, and got with this other female in San Diego, and she started editing my chapters, and as I was sending them to her, and came to fruition in 2015. Portrait of a Troubled Child.
Yeah.
Yes, wonderful. Yeah, I'm reading it. It's it starts out great. So that's
Yeah. They said, well, you're an author. I didn't want to just be an author. I wanted to be an author, a good author. That was something that was worthwhile reading.
Yeah.
And if a person is really open-minded in reading that book, they can see some of the traps that's set up in my life that I fell into.
Right.
Exactly.
Or some that fell into mine. I speak about some of the relationships that I had as a teenager. Most of those young ladies had the same problem I had.
Mm.
And that's why they weren't satisfied with their home life, what was going on in their home life. They wasn't focusing in on education. So I fit their mold as well as them fitting mine.
Mm-hmm.
And misery loves company.
Right.
Kind of thing, what have you. So, and that's what when you say aspiring young men, we need our young ladies to understand what relationships are about, to understand how valuable they are, not their bodies, but their mind.
Right.
Because so many of them get started off and let that physical attraction overwhelm them, and they start using their bodies. And the next thing you know, some guy got them pregnant that don't want no baby, and
don't really want them.
Right. Now she's stuck with a child on her own, and possibly got some angers toward not a man, but men, what have you. So those kind of
all right, you preaching now.
well, we need discernment for our girls.
Yes,
we
sir.
do, because you
Yeah.
know, it's they even now you got them going off into the drug game, selling drugs, you know, gangster females, whatever.
Right.
Uh,
And you know,
it just,
yeah, go ahead.
but you know, you
Right.
go.
I say, you know, it's funny because when these discussions are held, men want to blame the women want to blame the men, but like you were alluding to, it's both parties' fault.
Yes.
You know, because when we get in these relationships, we're not looking for what we need to make us feel, what we need to improve our lives or help our life. We're looking for what we want to make us feel good in a moment. And that almost always ends up being bad for us in the long run. And so yeah, we got to be careful. You know, a young lady go grab the first guy come along because he got a little money, got a nice car, got a nice rap, and so she wouldn't give him everything she got, and like you just said, it turns into everything she don't want.
Right. And the reality of that is, and that's one of the things, some of those choices you have to live with for a lifetime.
For a lifetime. Yeah.
You know, I'm living with some bad choices that I made at the age of 15 and 16. I was talking to Jeanette, that's my wife now, and that y'all know it, but I'm just saying, putting that out there.
Beautiful woman, yes.
About, you know, some of the issues that I'm dealing with now that, you know, occurred when I was 15 and 16. And the reality of that, it dawns on me to the point where somebody else needs to understand this, you know, because a moment of pleasure can be a lifetime of pain.
Right. And so for the people that go, we already talked about this, let them know how many years that is.
How many years? What do you?
That you still paying for something you did so many years ago?
Well, I'll be 69 in November.
Right. So right.
That was when I was 15. When they say do the math.
Right. Do the math. Do the math. That's a long time for a mistake that you made when you was 15. Yes, but the idea is that what I like about it is that you realize that you made a mistake, and so you accept the responsibility for the mistake that you made, but at the same time trying to keep somebody else from doing the same thing.
Oh, one of the philosophies of Share House was, in order to keep it, you must give it away.
Yes.
And that reference sobriety. You know, I didn't go through this to keep it. And then you got some people who went through similar addictions and they would never tell you that they had that addiction.
Yeah.
Because they want that to be the past.
Right.
But the Lord didn't save me for me to keep it to myself. You know, right. I didn't go through those experiences. That's right. You know, they're not so prevalent in my mind today. I didn't forget them. So if they're still in my mind, somebody can use them.
That's right.
You know, somebody can use them.
That's right.
People speak about the success of my book. If one person was encouraged and informed, there was one lady in our church had know nothing about drugs. She read that book. She said, "Curtis, I learned so much."
Yeah.
You were very detailed.
But I mean, but that's the truth of the matter is that our mistakes are the fact that we survive our mistakes is reason enough for us to stop somebody else from try to stop anyway. Somebody else from making the same mistake. Because we can't stop them. We can only try.
Some of them be knuckleheads like I was.
Yeah.
Like I was. I got some of the best advice in the world coming up. But I was so full of anger and bitterness at that time that I didn't want to hear it. You know, what I call what it was. You know, some of it was misdirected.
Yeah.
And then some of it was coming to some understandings that my dad used to tell me all the time. My stepmother, she was very, very verbally abusive. She could say some stuff that I still ain't forget.
Ooh, wee.
She was like that. You know, she was just whatever she thought she was gonna say. And my dad used to try to excuse her. Well, my dad was promiscuous, and I didn't know it.
Okay.
My brother was talking the other day about July being my dad's birthday, and he would normally be in Virginia every birthday, but he was in Virginia seeing his girlfriend. I didn't put this in the book to you, so you can see that. I tell my dad that. So, and I didn't know this.
Right.
Now, but when he would be gone, he would leave me with my stepmother. She knew what he was doing.
She knew what he was doing.
The anger she had towards him, she took it out on me.
Yes, sir.
And she would be, and at that time, I just wanted to be loved. We're talking about when I was 10 and 11 years old.
Right.
And when he would come back, I couldn't wait for him to get home so I could tell him all this stuff she done said to me.
Yeah.
And you understand, his answer was, you will understand when you get older. She just going through the change. She's going through the change.
Wow.
I can remember being so angry with him one time. And when he said, you're going to understand when you get older, I told him, I need to know now. She giving me the blues now.
Right. That's right. That's right. well,
and how long does this change of life last?
Right. So did he ever, he never told you, did he?
He never told me. It was a woman down the street that I used to hang with her son. And now I'm talking about in my 30s.
Yeah.
When I got clean, she told me. She said, your stepmama used to come down here every July when your daddy would be going to Virginia. We sit down and we have some Mogan David and talk about that Negro.
So it still was later on when you found out.
Yep.
So,
yeah.
So that's a good segue. Wow. Before I say that, y'all need to quit putting your kids in the middle of your mess. Let me get off my soapbox. We talked before we started about the things my mother never told me question. And so I'll let you. We talked about it. You told me what Jeanette told you and how we can shape this. So I'm gonna let you answer the question. How you answer it?
Well, if we're gonna speak about the woman who was in my mother's place was my stepmother, I just told you. She never told me my dad was a whore. We're getting real here.
That's right. She never answered the question as to why. Well, because I understood later why she would be angry, not angry with me, but I understood why she was angry. Right.
Because I'm not her son. And he's going to be with another woman and leaving his son with her.
Yeah.
So what I was going to my answer when Jeanette told me that was a question you asked, I thought about the woman who filled in for my mother for those 4 years, which was Olivia Jones, a woman who, wow, she was so good to me. And what she never told me was no.
All right.
She never told me no. She called me Bay. And Bay, if you wanted it, if I wanted some kid coffee, if I wanted to come over to her house, I remember Pat Boone had some white bucks. And I wanted some white bucks. And my daddy said, that boy ain't getting none of them no white bucks. He can't keep the clothes he got clean. What do you do with some white shoes? Miss Jones said, if Bay want them, I'm gonna get them for him. She got them white bucks.
Now, have we ever heard that answer?
No.
No. No. She never told you no.
Never told me no.
Well, I like that.
I don't know if that was good or bad.
Right, I don't either.
Oh, at that time, imagine this now.
Yeah.
5 boys. My mom was 36 years old when she died.
Yes.
Any direction that our lives was going in 1955 when she passed, everything changed.
Yes.
Everything changed.
Yes.
All the compassion, the love that was in her home left and went to the grave with her. So what Miss Jones gave me was what a 3-year-old boy needed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nurturing. Yeah.
Especially for what was about to come.
Yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
God, he has a plan.
Yeah.
He has a plan. I didn't understand it then. Oh, it was times when I was going through those things that I was so angry with the Lord. You know, my father had me going to church and I wasn't believing nothing I was hearing. You know, I was angry. Why me? Why is this happening to me? Why I got to be the youngest of all these stupid men? All of them think they my daddy,
Yeah.
you know, whatever.
Right.
But a story, when they you know, they say a cliche that from those tests comes a testimony.
Yes, sir.
But it's so true. It's just a thing about whether or not you got the nerve to tell it.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because we need to share our stories. Jeanette's mother, my mother-in-law, that was another great woman in my life. The stories that she shared were so educational for me. About her upbringing, coming up under her father, and her father selling meat to the white merchants and different things like that, and just some of the ways that they wanted him to be stupid, and can't count, and you know, cheating him out of his money. Just different stories, and that some of the bitterness she had from that. Yeah. And that's what we have to, we you know, bitterness, lack of forgiveness, none of these things help us as individuals. Right. You know, and that's what I had to learn. I'm still learning how to release some of those angers and different things like that. Right. That's a constant. I don't have a struggle with the temptation of drugs, but my life is not perfect. You know, look at the situations that occur. I've been watching these recollections from January 6th over CNN and stuff, and have to arrest some of the bitterness that can come from that. Yeah. Right. Because, you know, love conquers hate. Yeah. You know, and no matter how bitter this world is, joining in that and adapting that bitterness does not make you a better person, and it sure doesn't make the world a better place. No. You know, so
it'll destroy you.
Oh, for sure. I've seen it destroy people. I've seen it. Yes.
Yeah. But like you say, love is even stronger than death. You know.
Oh yes. Right. Oh yes. Yeah. Yes, it is.
It's just like I said, it covers so many things.
Right. Well, you know the I'll say this and then we're gonna get into something real light. You know, coming up like you a few years before us, but you know, but the era we came up in is right behind you, and so so we piggybacked on some of the frustrations, but you had a more conscious awareness of it. If we were to let that define who we are and keep us bitter, we'd be destroyed.
Yes, sir.
Not only as individuals, but as a race, we'd be totally destroyed. Oh yes. There's no way we can help anybody else when we constantly being mad about what happened. And so I appreciate you being able to tell your story and then provide those pearls of wisdom. But let me ask you a question. I'm going to slip off of that because we don't want to seem like we better.
Okay.
You bake?
I'm a baker. There was a time when I did more baking than I do now. Sweet potato cheesecake and pound cakes was my specialty. Okay. My stepmother, she could make some pound cakes, or she could cook beer, but she could make some pound cakes, and she used to sell them in the church. Okay. So I would watch her, and I learned her recipe. You know, and I started trying. After she passed on, I started making them and what have you. And at Christmas time, I would make them, and you know, so people started wanting them or whatever. That's a good release.
Yes, it is. Yeah. I do a little baking myself. So,
do you?
Yeah.
What's
I pound cake, cobbler, apple pie,
rice pudding,
cookies, rice pudding. You know that
rice
kind of
pudding.
stuff. That
red
kind of stuff.
Pudding.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Red pudding? Yeah, I ain't no baker. You a
baker. Look. If you can make a pound cake, you a baker.
Yeah.
If you can make a peach cobbler, you're a unique baker.
Well, you know how peach cobbler go. It depends on what part of the country you from, which way you like it.
The crust, it's all in the dough.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he do roll his up.
That's what it is.
He does roll
That's
his.
what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when he come in that scratch bacon.
You ever tasted Willie Hearn's peach? What is it? Peach? It's got some kind of berry in it. That man can make.
Oh, I don't think I did. I remember him talking about it.
Yeah, that man.
And then now he done ran down south now, so we can't.
Yeah, but that he can do that.
Okay.
Don't eat him. He don't eat him. You see how slim he is.
Yeah. Well, see, everything I make, I eat.
He sure do everything.
But I ain't even got to tell you that. But I eat.
I know that's right. He eat it hot out the oven.
I married a woman that can cook too. She loves to cook.
That's right. That's right. Well, that's all right. Do you still bowl?
No, I don't. And with me working and in 2015, I had congestive heart failure. So my endurance is not what it was. My bowling game is nowhere near what it wasn't what it needed to be at that time. So I quit while I was ahead.
That's right. That's right. and save that endurance for other things.
Yes, sir.
You still shoot pool or billiards?
I haven't had a chance to in quite some time. But I was pretty good when I was regular with it. Yeah.
Okay. Right. I think I heard your name somewhere. I don't know. So let me real quick. How can somebody get your book?
Best way is on Facebook. Inbox me or something. I don't sell them. I give them away now. They came up off of Amazon. The Amazon might tell you they got one, but I don't. If they do, I don't know where they got it from. But they still have it listed like they have one. But so that was basically just inbox me. I'm mailing to people, and pay for the shipping of it. That's what I've been doing.
Oh, okay.
Somebody, if they want it, I want them to have it.
Yeah.
Wow, you do give back.
Right.
You are giving back.
So you on Facebook? Right. You out there on Facebook. You're not on Instagram, right?
Curtis Michael Girty.
All right.
Now, what was that you said?
I say you're not on Instagram, right?
I'm not.
Yeah. Okay. But that's cool. Facebook got a few million people on there, so somebody should. If they listen to this, they on Facebook.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, Curtis Michael Girty on Facebook, and you can get that book. Are both books available there, or just a Portrait of a Troubled Child? Just Portrait of a Troubled Child. Okay. Yeah. Ebony Pearl's been out of existence for quite some time. Yeah. That's the thing about it. I self-published when I did. Right. That's a very draining process. Yeah. Writing a book is not quite as draining as trying to promote a book. Right. At the time that I did Ebony Pearls, you could still get consignments in bookstores. Okay. So I had my book in all the major bookstores in the Detroit area. Mm-hmm. But with consignments, you have to check on them every 30 days. So, so all your time is trying to remember or when you went to go back and make sure you get an account of how many, right. Mm-hmm. You got to do book signings at those stores in order to bring people in to buy your book. So the marketing of the book in itself is draining. If people have asked me about writing the final book for Portrait of a Troubled Child, I would have to have a publisher. Okay. I wouldn't self-publish that. Yes. Because now you have to have a lot of. You can't just take books to the bookstore and get consignments anymore. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Right. You have to have a big trunk.
Yeah, well, if you want to do them like Master P or somebody.
All right, sell them out your trunk. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Or know somebody's got a building you can use to do an event at or something like that. Yeah, right. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. So what's next for you?
Uh, I love to mentor. I love giving back.
Okay.
I don't think a lot of well, churches is one of the only vehicles that we have in order to try to save some lives and give out information. I don't think we do near as much mentoring as we should or as needed.
Right.
I think it needs to be some type of ways to get with the single parents that are struggling with raising children, not just boys, but boys and girls,
Right.
and try to give some direction, especially to the young mothers,
Yes.
and to encourage the young men to have more respect for the young ladies.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
The job of correcting our wrongs is so big that we don't want to tackle it.
Right. Yeah.
The world is moving so fast, we don't really have time to give to it.
Yeah.
We have to take that time. That's what I love about Dr. King and the people during his era. It was a problem in society, and they put a halt to things and they addressed it.
Yeah.
And they made a change.
Yeah.
You know, we see the problem, but we don't want to take the time. We more so in every family for themselves mode.
Yeah.
You know, I got mine. Mine's doing okay.
Yeah. So y'all fix y'all's over there. Right. And right. And you know, to add on to what you're saying, I mean, we gotta get to the point where we're not just throwing kids away. Like a young girl has a baby or two, and we done tossed her to the curb. She damaged goods. Nobody want to be bothered with her. And these young guys, you know, people got to realize, like you were saying, you make a mistake. Yeah, especially having a child at a young age, you're gonna pay for that for a while, but you're gonna pay a bigger price if you don't take care of it.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
If you go to Facebook, Charles got a page out there. It's Detroit Boys, BOYZ Rock, and that's his little organization that he's running. You, if we can hook you up, that'd be great. Where you can see if it's something y'all can collaborate on. That would be a good thing. We had him. I think he was like the third or fourth guest we had on the podcast. Yeah. So you know, just throwing that out there. But
yeah, and if you get a chance, text me his information.
I will do that. I'll do that.
Information.
Right. Yeah, because we really until we realize that we responsible for each other.
Yes.
All this stuff gonna keep on happening.
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure.
Yeah. So, you got anything else you want to ask me?
Not at the moment, but I just want to let you know that I thank God for you. Thank God for your story, your telling of it, your inspiration that's gonna move forward to the young men, and hopefully, like you said, reaching out to the young mothers, young parents. It's just really, I mean, it touched me deeply.
Oh, I'm happy to hear that, and I appreciate you.
Right.
I appreciate both of you. Thank you both for the opportunity.
Thank you for agreeing to come on there. You know, it's so funny when we put this thing together. I was, you know, my thought was, who do I have on here? And the first thing I thought about was all the people I know in church. But you didn't come to mind until we did that Men's Day event.
Okay.
And we were sitting there talking. I said, wait a minute, now here goes a story right here.
Right.
And so I appreciate you agreeing to come on. But it goes to show that we got access to a lot of people who can give us information about how we can improve our lives, show us the path to go down, the path not to go down. And we just got to take time to sit down and talk with each other and try to find out what's what.
For sure.
Yeah. So you got anything else you want to say?
Other than I'm appreciative of this opportunity. Love you both.
Love you too, brother.
And to anybody that was listening in, thank you for doing so.
That's right. That's right. Hey, you take care, and we'll see you the next time we can see. But we definitely thank you for coming on. You share some.
I'm gonna finish that book too, because
Right.
it was just. I just said I couldn't really put it down, but I got so late
Right.
when I had started it. I was like, oh man.
Right, and I'll say thank you for coming on, but even more importantly than that, thank you for telling your story.
Yes.
God bless you both.
Bless you. Take care, bro.
Back to you.